algebra. So it says 2 more than. More than means to add or increase by. 4 times is product or multiply, the cube of a number. So a number cubed means it has a power of 3. So that would look like 4n cubed plus 2. Order doesn't matter, so if you had 2 plus 4n cubed, that is also fine. Quotient means division. Order does matter for a quotient, so if it says the quotient of 5 less than a number, 5 less than a number means you have a number and you're taking 5 away. And 12, the and tells you where the quotient division occurs. So it is n minus 5 over 12. The cube of a number increased by. So increased by means to add. Cube of a number means n cubed again. Increased by is plus. 4 times the same number means you need to have 4 times n. 3 times, so that means we have a multiple of 3. The difference, so that tells you subtraction. So 3 times the difference of a number, n, and 8. So that is 3 n minus 8. Okay, write a verbal expression to represent each equation. So now you're putting into words. So you are writing it out. So 6 times, or you could say the product of 6 and a number. An equal sign. You can either write is equal to, or is in general represents an equal. So the product of a number and 6 is equal to 72. N plus 15 equals 91. So you could say a number increased by 15 is 91. You could say 5 less than a number. You could say the difference of a number and, meaning the minus sign, the difference of a number and 5 is -2. Twice a number is the same as that same number squared, and maybe we say decreased by 4. So again, there's a lot of different options and ways of writing the same thing. If you had tried these on your own, you might have had something slightly different. That is fine, as long as the order and mathematical statement match. So we are working on solving equations. We introduced literal equations last week on Friday. We're going to continue to look at literal equations today. So our goal in each of these problems is to solve for the variable x. So our goal is to solve for x, and we're going to need to use a variety of different mathematical properties in order to do that each time. So in number 1, we have x over a plus 8 equals b. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 8 from both sides. And then we're going to multiply both sides by a. So your a's cancel on the left, and you get x equals a times b minus 8. So I've successfully gotten x alone. The next thing you need to do is you want to put down any restrictions on your variable. So we know that we cannot divide by 0. So since in the original problem you had x divided by a restriction on this is that a can never equal 0. So even though now in my final answer a is up here, a originally started in a denominator, therefore a can never be 0. In number 10, we're going to first move over that 15. That leaves ax plus bx equals 15. Now our goal is to solve for x. So in order to solve for x, we actually have to use the GCF to get the x away from both terms. So x is the GCF of ax and bx. So we're going to pull x out, leaving a plus b. And that equals 15. And then since these are multiplied, we can divide by a plus b. And then that leaves x equals 15 over a plus b. But again, we know that the bottom of a fraction cannot equal 0. So that tells me that a plus b does not equal 0. And then we have d equals 2x over a plus b. So we're going to subtract the b to the other side. So I have d minus b equals 2x over a. Once again, I need to get the a out of the denominator. So you multiply both sides by a. And then I have a times d minus b equals 2x. Divide by 2. So we get x equals a d minus b all over 2. 2 can never equal 0, so we don't have to worry about the bottom. But once again, we started with an a up top in the bottom. So we need to say that a is never 0. Those are called the restrictions of the domain. Those are values or quantities that are always true. Okay, Adrienne will use part of a garage wall as one of the long sides of a rectangular pen for her rabbit. So it says he wants the pen to be 3 times as long as it is wide. So if we draw ourselves a little bit of a drawing, here's the garage. So it needs to be longer than it is wide. So if W equals W, then the length has to be 3W. So the short sides are W and the long side is L because it said he only wants one long side. He has 68 feet of fencing. That's kind of like your perimeter. So it says find the dimensions. Well, I have 2W plus L equals P. But L is really 3W and P is really 68. So I have 5W equals 68. Or W equals 13.6. And then L is equal to 3 times that. So the length is 40.8, the width is 13.6, and we need to be careful and make sure we include our units of feet. Okay, a rectangle is twice as long as it is wide. So again, that means the length is twice the width. Its perimeter is 48. And we know perimeter is supposed to be 2W plus 2L. But we know L is really 2W. So we get 48 equals 2W plus 2 times 2W. Or 48 equals 6W. Divide both sides by 6. And W equals 8. So it says find its dimensions. So it means the width is 8 centimeters. And the length is 2 times 8 or 16 centimeters. Okay, the sides of a quadrilateral are in the ratio 2, 3, 4, 6, whose perimeter is 132. So we know a quadrilateral has 4 sides. Perimeter is sum of the sides. So if its ratios are 2, 3, 4, 6, it's kind of like saying one side is 2x, another side is 3x, 4x, and 6x. And the sum of all those sides at those ratios is 132. So 4 and 6 is 10, 2 and 3 is 5. So 15x equals 132. Dividing everything by 15. We get x is equal to 8.8. But the problem is that x doesn't really represent the length of a side. X represents the ratio of the length of the side. So when it says find the lengths of the sides, you need to find 2x, 3x, 4x, and 6x. So 8.8 times 2 is 17.6 centimeters. Times 3 is 26.4. Times 4 is 35.2. And times 6 is 52.8. And you should be able to add up all of those sides and get 132. So that's an easy way to check that your math is correct by adding all the sides to make sure it met both conditions. Okay, the sides of a rectangle are in the ratio 12, 13, 15. So again, same idea, 12x, 13x, and 15x. Perimeter is the sum of the sides. So you'd add up the 12, the 13, and the 15 to get 40x. Perimeter was given as 120. So again, 120 divided by 40 gives you 3. So that means one side is 12 times 3, 13 times 3, and 15 times 3. Okay, so your homework is the following page in that packet. It matches textbook pages 22 to 23, 22 to 29, and 41 to 44. You have the remaining time to work on that. And again, anything you don't have done is homework due in class tomorrow.